Oh, no. My bad. What's up, Nep? Thank you for showing up. Yeah, no. I specifically drew ahead because getting to this point took an hour, give or take. And so I want to spend that time just kind of like editing and then like getting into color. So we're not, spending that time, because usually I only have like 2 hours out of the day to get this done. So yeah. No, we are started mid drawing. Actually, you know what I'll do? Let's get this lowered. Uh, no, literally. Actually, let me get the. Yeah, no, I feel that. Sometimes, like after work, especially with streaming, that's why you see me do faces sometimes. One, I just like kind of want to already like learn faces and get good at them. And then two, it's like the easiest thing to do. Like it's an easy like turn off brain activity that I could do, get good, some sort of fundamental. Um, but in this particular case, I want to get better at color. So right now I'm just kind of focusing on that today. How was your weekend? Let's leave this. Let's leave all the armor stuff dark. Yeah. No, I feel you. Iterating for a long time can get very very daunting. Like it just kind of like it's like very fun in the beginning, and it's like kind of what's getting the engine going for the person, not person, energy going for like the like active drawing. But then after a while, like if you're just doing that over and over again, it's like you just gotta pick one at that point. Like unless it's like really like you just can't get like the idea going, then that just you need to reevaluate how you're approaching the design as a whole. Actually, we'll just leave it like that. We don't need to be perfect about it. Yeah, we'll just do that and get these wings all golden out. This spot right here. Actually, do we need... Let's see. Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. Oof, that's way too saturated. Oh, let's bring that back. There you go. This would probably be red. This would be gold. I think everything else would probably be. Let me see how this looks if it's not like gold. And then maybe we can have like a. That doesn't look too bad. And then we have this. We can have. And then this blade will actually be the only like silver. It's like maybe we can make it like dark silver. Let's see, huge. Change this to blue. Actually, no. Let's darken this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. What if I change this to gold? It's curious. This gold. Get rid of this. I don't know. There's something about this, and then what if I were to change this to gold? Oh, that would actually go pretty good, but can't make it too dark. I actually like that, because then it just gives attention to her head than the sword. Cool. And then maybe we can get some chains. Can like attach here or something. Here. Chains right there. And maybe we can get something like that going. And like it just dangles? Question mark? You can get like these gold. I don't know. Actually, funny when I was making my game, yeah, the main character, like you ideate so much, when like you're approaching the design, because when I was ideating the character, I was like, who is this character? Why is this character? And then like I was looking up images and I had like an idea that she was like a bookworm of some sort, or maybe like some like high level not high level exec, but like corporate somebody, like a reporter, writer, or whatever, because this was gonna be a horror game. And then eventually I came up with like, yeah, just like a corporate office woman. But it just like went through so many iterations. Like she had a backpack, she didn't have a backpack. She had like glasses, she didn't have glasses. She had like a very corporate outfit. She had a very like old timey, like 50s kind of secretary look. Like there's just so many of like, what is this character, right? And it's very different sometimes from like Office, where they kind of give you a prompt and you just kind of bounce from there. And yeah. A lot of that can be if I a lot of that could be really hashed out. If I remember what your character looked like. I remember I saw you post it. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the times, your like your character's body language, like you could change the clothes however you want, right? But their body language a lot of times like tells like most of the narrative of who they are. So a lot of the times, if you just change the body to where like maybe she's like more in clothes, like she's like not so white stance, because a lot of the times it's like people who are scared or like maybe less confident, like really keep to themselves like really close, and then characters who are more confident like widen their stance, right? Like almost like a bear. Like if a bear is going to attack you, they're going to make themselves like as big as possible, right? To intimidate you, and then like, you know, maybe like eat you or whatever, right? But yeah, I think it could just be like something as simple as that. Like you don't really have to do that many changes, or if any changes at all. It's just how you present them. It's just a little bit more inwards. Oh, this actually came out sick in terms of like, you know, having the pressure kind of low or the opacity low for the line work. But I gotta make it even lower. One thing I do want to change is this mouth or this chin size. Nice. Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Actually, you know what I'll do? Oh, that's good to hear, man. Yeah. Um, working like to get to color like quicker is just, I don't know, to me a lot more efficient. Some people start with color, like just straight painting. The only thing about painting that I personally like don't enjoy getting into like right away before sketching is like a messy hand. So sometimes like when I sketch, like I really sketch, or when I get into details, I get like really into details. So I don't want my design to suffer because I like going too fast or going like too fast in like one area, right? If I'm gonna be in like the color zone, I'm probably gonna take my time more. And if I'm gonna be in the sketch zone, I'm gonna like speed things up, but I don't want it to be the opposite. It just feels weird. And sometimes I have a hard time like coming back from all of that. So yeah, the sketch, flat color, line work, and then render is like a nice like I'm able to get in like a pretty tight sketch and then like jump right into color and then go from there. Actually really like that eyes that I had before. Oh, there we go. She kind of looks like she's pouting right now. It's funny. actually. I feel like I had a pretty solid face here, so you know what? I'm just gonna use this. What we're gonna do is color balance. And just make it more red. What do you mean? Like, just layer flip? Like that? Sir, I found a playlist that hopefully doesn't copyright me. That's what happened last time. I played a copyright-free playlist and then immediately looked at my like YouTube and it's like this sound is copyrighted, and I was like, what? What part of not copyright don't you understand? Alright, it's been a long time on the face. Let's start working on the body bits. Separate the head because there's going to be a lot of bits moving around. actually a little curious. I don't know if it's her head that sticks out a lot or she just has a really big head. No, it looks fine. I think it's just her head sticks out a lot. Just leave it like that for now. This is why we do color first. Because then now the rest of it's gonna just be like kind of polishing up the lines a little bit more and matching them to the colors. But if I would have done the lines first like blindly, I would have been like, what am I doing? At least right now I feel like I have like a nice guideline. cat right now. And he's looking at my chords. I'm watching him. Okay, now he's just chilling. Oh, that's cool. Uh, Actually, you know what? I actually just like the way it is. It's not symmetrical, but I don't know. There's something about way they're both constructed that just tickles my brain nicely. Like the asymmetry of them. Okay, so this I had it here for like a reason. It's supposed to be like a shielding plate, but I didn't add anything to it, so I guess now is the good time to add something. All right, before we continue forward, I do want to do a little tip of the day, because I think sometimes I get lost in drawing and sometimes I'm not giving the advice of like what I'm doing. I'm just kind of like noodling. So a big thing that I'm kind of doing today, quite often, if you guys have noticed, is that I create these lines right here to insinuate not only shadow but form, right? So I'm going to teach you guys a little trick when creating shadows with lines, right? So a lot of the times you'll see people draw like the circle, and then they'll have like the light in the center, and then they'll have their like mid-tone area, which is like the darkest point right here, and then it slightly gets gradually lighter, right? So it'd be like something like this, right? It's like the mid-tone, and then we get like lighter and lighter. It's really sketchy. And then it like fans out the color and so on and so forth, and then you have like your cast shadow right here, right? So a lot of the times with lines you can't really execute that. Like you can't create your forms and shapes purely with just line and just be doing all this complicated stuff unless you're rendering, right? So instead, what I like to do a lot of the times is just block in areas in which you are going to highlight or shadow in, right? With just like actual blocking in. So in this particular case, I would say this is the cast shadow. Now, this is the darkest point. So what would I do for the darkest points, right? A lot of the time, either I'll just like block it in like that, or I'll create thicker, more condensed lines together, right? To get that point across, right? If it's a light area, a lot of the times those lines will be like separated. So let me just draw this again to have that point. And then in this area, right, if we draw a line, anything, we're just going to draw light lines. We're not going to draw too heavy lines here. If anything, we're going to keep it really bare minimum, right? Bare minimum lines, almost like they're like just scratching the area of where the light kind of hits, right? And then as we go more and more down, like let's say like this area, right? Then we'll start drawing even more gradual, like, you know, packly tight together lines. And then as we get even more, you know, down, you know, we compact that, and we basically get the same idea. And with the circle, it's a little bit more harder, but this just goes for like more of pockets, you know, pockets of space, right? So you'll see me in certain areas, like let's say I draw a hand, right? Let's just draw a quick little hand, right? It's right here, and then, you know, right here, and then the thumb, and the forearm, right? Let's get rid of all this construction lines. Right. So if we have a hand right here, a lot of the times, like if we say the light is coming from here, a lot of the times I'll just cover pockets of space and just like cover that spot in, right? And so what that does is, if you're ever just like drawing, for me, I set it as a reminder for like where to place shadows, where my light's going to be. And let me make the fingers more distributedly smaller, right? And so a lot of the times we're just putting in pockets of shadows, right? This is a weird hand. A lot of times we're putting pockets of shadows. So when that happens, you can see like even right here, I could put like more pockets and pockets of shadows. And so this communicates to me without hardcore shadows, shadows and like texture alone, right? Because if we turn on the colors again, we can get like stronger and stronger reads of later on I would render, right? So this is just more of a clarity thing of when we do these we do these comic book shadows, a lot of the times they help reinforce the forms that are a reminder for later on when you are eventually going to be painting this character, right? So if you're ever doing lines and you don't want to do this where you're like really pressing down and like creating those shadows, you could always do this method where you're just slightly like scratching in, you know, your forms, right? Like right here, slightly, you know, insinuating form without, you know, too much, you know, headache. So, yeah, little tip of the day of how I like to approach shadowing with lines. right. There we go. Hmm. Oh wait, no, here. Actually, what am I thinking about? Wait. Oh, here we go. Stroke. 2? Question mark? No. Stroke. 4. Yeah. Yo, Mary, what's up? Oof. Any tips for not getting bored from working on the same project? To be honest, it might just be the subject you're working on, not necessarily the, like, because if you're enjoying the starting process, but then you're like bored with it like halfway through, it's either like there has to do with something that like you're not enjoying specifically what you're doing. Therefore, there's no like point in it by like day 2 or 3, right? This usually happens when sometimes if you don't feel like there's like a bigger purpose to the character or the goal or whatever the case may be, you might need to like look into like the purpose of the project before like you dedicate long periods of time for them, because if you like if you just don't like the project, or if you don't like doing certain things, and then like forcing yourself to do them, like if you're not gonna like it within like the first like few days of getting into that like patch of, oh, this kind of sucks, then like, you know, just imagine like down the road. So I would find a subject or a genre or theme that you really attach to, and then just get like really good at doing like drawing that genre, or drawing specifically that per se. um that's my advice. A lot of the times for me, like I like sci-fi stuff, so I can spend like hours and hours just drawing sci-fi stuff. But you know, if I you know, one thing is funny, when I was being mentored, when I was in like my student era, actually, let me bring this up more, get this more in a perspective. It was funny, my mentor used to always like, he taught many students this, and I loved the execution of it. Like it was like eye candy to see, but personally doing it myself was kind of like tedious, and I just didn't care for it, and so like a lot of projects got shafted because of that. But the one thing he would teach is like make everything like a statement, right? Like, so for example, like this weapon or a very specific thing about the character, like just make fucking huge and like exaggerate like everything and make it work, right? Personally, just wasn't like, I liked the idea of like, oh, like make things big, like make it a statement. Like I would still give that advice to anybody. And occasionally, like, I mean, even with this weapon, like I made it like that, but at the scale that he was kind of like pitching it at, I was always like, But one thing I really liked doing was like Valorant style characters, where you're they're more of like costume designing than they were specifically very technical drawing. So I always had fun with that more often than not. So then I ended up drawing just a lot of characters with like very straightforward designs that just looked really cool in like some techwear outfit or some cool sci-fi get up, versus like an really like crazy Overwatch design. But to, you know, to this day, I always like to balance. I always find opportunities to try to push myself to do that kind of stuff now that I have like the time and I already have the job and stuff like that. So, but I remember like early on, like as a student, like it was such a barrier for me of like, I just don't care to do this crazy thing. And so when I found my own kind of path that I like really enjoyed and I did it very often, then that in of itself got me to do more and more projects, and I was like looking forward to just drawing in general. started off the design with this foot in mind. It's gonna be like the biggest hurdle for me. Okay. Oof, we are almost done with this line work. Oh. Yeah. She's a Warhammer inspired character. I like to play Dawn of War a lot of the time. And yeah, I just love the Warhammer series. They're very fun. Although due to time crunch, I don't paint my own minis, but at some point we'll get around to it. Have our own little collection, but I use the RTS game as my little gateway drug to that. Maybe like that? Yeah. And you know what? I'm gonna remove these because kind of like spiked out like that. So fun little tip about this specifically. Although she is a very like Warhammer inspired character, she's not a direct Warhammer character. And stuff like this, you can actually get away with more often than not of kind of creating not your own visual language, because it is inspired by a certain genre. But crafting your own interpretation of an existing genre for your portfolio, right? And a lot of the times, like, I think what students would often do is like take a specific game or whatever. This is often done. This is often done with League, right? Because it's like it's an expansive world. You can do like whatever, right? But more often than not, you want to find opportunities to create characters that would feel like they would fit in their world, but not directly like copy the form language of that world. And the reason for that is because like right now, like, you know, if this were to be a very like one-to-one direct, like, you know, Sisters of Battle type character, a lot of the times they would have like a very specific breastplate, they would have very specific things, and so, you know, what I'm doing is taking my interpretation of the medium and applying my own little fun like twist to it, right? Twist to the armor, twist to how their suits kind of in lie with them. Certain things that make you feel like, oh yeah, like this makes sense. Like, you know, what would a Sisters of Battle look like if she had like an exosuit on or something of that nature? Or, you know, they're not a one-to-one direct translation. And a lot of times that's what you know, kind of gets you jobs. It's like you have the idea, you have the inspiration, and now you're pushing new boundaries with this IP that already exists, right? And so that's what I would recommend if you guys are making portfolio projects and you're inspired by a specific IP, is, you know, take that IP, and, you know, mimic certain elements of their, you know, shape language or how their concept artists kind of design stuff. But at the end of the day, you don't want to make like a one-to-one copy. You want to make a like inspired world where they themselves would go, oh yeah, that would be interesting in XYZ, right? You know, that's what happened when I was you know, when I interned for Riot. I created a quote unquote like Overwatch type character, and they looked at it and they're like, wow, this character kind of looks like Jinx if it was like in our game, right? And that's what they resonated with like the most. Now, I wasn't directly looking at Valorant because Valorant was like new at the time, but that's like something that they, you know, really resonated with, right? So yeah, that's my little, you know, 2-bit cents on, you know, just, you know, keep your projects, if you are a fan of a certain project, you know, keep it, you know, to the understanding that you don't want to like one-to-one direct copy from it, but you do want to take nice inspirations that really push the bar forward and make you like more hireable, right? So yeah, cool. I think I'm gonna finish off with the cape, and then I'm gonna call it here. It is coming around 7, and I am hungry. Let's see. Oh my god. Well, I appreciate you always showing up, Marie. If it is that time over there. Okay. We are almost there. Yeah, I started on her face first because a lot of the times, like, you could get the most appeal from like just face designs in general, and then, you know, everything else gets rendered out, figured out. So, you know, that's why I started with the face first, in terms of rendering. But yeah, we we'll most likely come back to this character tomorrow. Just on my off time, I'll just like line everything, and then we can get straight into rendering, and I can do some like rendering tips from there. But yeah, appreciate you guys showing up, and I will talk to you guys later.